Let me go ahead. I forgot. All right. So let's talk about what we're dealing with. You've had a bioscan, and one of the things that most of us already know is that the number one killer is heart disease. We've heard that for years and years and years. But what we don't understand is although it is the number one cause of disease, in 2020, nearly 700,000 people died from heart disease in the United States, but 25% of them didn't find out they had heart disease until death. Now that's an atrocious fact for us to talk about. But what's even more atrocious than that is that 90% of that heart disease was preventable. Did you hear what I just said? It was preventable. And then we're talking about the number two killer is cancer. And of course, since the pandemic, the number three is COVID-19. But prior to that, the number three leading cause of death, you would be surprised to find out that it was medical error. Yes, you heard me right. You see that at the bottom? Recent studies, medical errors have estimated errors may account for as many as 250,000 deaths annually in the United States. So we can do something about this. So everything you're going to hear us talk about tonight, what you did on your scan, and some of you have it printed, some of you have it on your phones. Well, let's talk about what we're going to see. We're going to see areas in your report that is causing, because of a lack of oxygen, it's not getting the oxygen to your cells. Our cells need oxygen. And so it's one of the primary causes of death. Secondly, a lot of times because of the food that we're eating, we've got mucus that's building up. Parasites. I mean, one of our doctors talks about a report, and I think you can find it on YouTube, where you take out the raw meat from the store and pour Coca-Cola on it, and you can see the parasites and the worms and things coming out. Now, I haven't done that test because I just don't want to see that. But the point is, if it's coming out, that means it's going inside of us. Yes, we cook the meat, so they're dead. But get this, we've had people that have done our program and seen parasites in the stool, in the toilet. So we got to get this mucus and these parasites out. Thirdly, we've got toxins in our body from our processed food, from our fast food. I mean, we got fast food restaurants on every corner, 4 and 5, across the street from each other, competing with each other. And then down the street, you see a dialysis center. See, that's intentional. And then we've got deficiencies that we're not getting. Even if you're eating something that's nutritious, if you cook it, you're cooking out the nutrition. And so a lot of times we're not getting the vitamins that we need. We're not getting any sun, because even our kids, they don't do what we did when we were back in the day. You couldn't wait to get outside and play, but they're in the house, not getting any sunlight. So having vitamin D deficiency, as well as so many other vitamins. And then fifth, we have an acidic body. And you're going to hear me talk about this a little bit more, but I want to say this. Every one of us needs to have an alkaline body. And I'll make that very, very clear shortly as we get into this presentation. But of course, as Anita said, my doctorate, I have 2 doctorates, one's in theology and one's in divinity. So I'm not a medical doctor. I am a certified wellness coach here at Akana. So let you hear from the voice of medical doctors, wellness experts, as they talk about some of the things that we're getting ready to talk about tonight.
2/3 of adults are now overweight or obese, and we have an epidemic cascade of debilitating disease that's overcoming the country. There's no way we can sustain the current style of care with the epidemic that we're creating with our diet and lifestyle choices.
The diabetes, the arthritis, the heart disease, the dementia, the obesity, the cancers are affecting about 70% of deaths. All the data is that those 70% of deaths and morbidity are largely lifestyle related and preventable.
Most kids by age 10 in the US already have fatty streaks in their arteries, the first stage of atherosclerosis leading to heart attacks, strokes.
Here in American medicine, we operate from the disease model. We are in the business of treating sick people. We are not in the business of trying to prevent people from becoming sick.
When you look at chronic disease risk, all the things that we walk around worrying about, actually dietary choices trump smoking when it comes to those risks.
If I could deliver one message to the researchers who are looking for the cause of diabetes and the cause of clogged arteries and the cause of high blood pressure and the cause of obesity, I would tell them the answer's in 3 words. It's the food. It's what Americans are eating.
So did you hear that, doctor? He said, we're not in the business of preventing sickness. We're in the business of treating sickness. And then here's another doctor who says what? 3 words. It's the food. See, all of this that we're going to talk about tonight starts here. How many of you know your blood type? Listen, go to the chat right now and put what your blood type is. Is it A? Is it B? Is it AB? Or is it O? Now, if you don't know, I want you to put the letters IDK, meaning I don't know. You need to know your blood type. And people say, well, I'll go ask my doctor. You might have a hard time finding out. Some of them don't want you to know. And then they might charge you a whole lot of money. And I'm going to show you tonight how you can find out what your blood type is and why you need to know. Because your blood type is a more reliable measure of your identity than your race, your culture, or your geography. It is your genetic blueprint. And you could quite possibly wonder, why are you going through certain things in your body? Could it be that you're eating some food that's toxic to your blood type? Yep, you see that chart on the right-hand side where the A's shouldn't be eating bananas and the B's shouldn't be eating shrimp and the O's shouldn't be drinking white wine. And if this is something that you do often, because it's not what you do some of the time, it's what you do all of the time. So we actually provide a blood type testing kit. Only takes about 5 minutes for you to do it yourself. Yep, you can do it yourself, and you'll find out what your blood type is. And then you can start looking at a list of foods that are beneficial to your blood type, foods that are neutral to your blood type, and foods that you should avoid based on your blood type. It will make the difference in your total health. So this bioscan that you took, if you're here and you took the bioscan, or you might be a person that's here and you've never had the bioscan, and hopefully after you watch this, you're going to want to get in contact with somebody and see if you can get that done if there's a coach in your area. But the reason for it is so that we don't wait for the crisis. Now I have people tell me, well, I had something done at the doctor's office. Well, let me tell you something. We've understood that in our Western culture, in our Western medicine, the scans that we take, the equipment is calibrated to see when 10,000 cells get out of balance, because the bioscan shows what's going on from the cellular level of your body. But fortunately for us, our bioscan, which comes out of Eastern medicine, is calculated to see when 10 cells get out of balance. Now, which would you prefer to know? When 10 cells get out of balance or when 10,000 cells get out of balance? And the beauty of it, it's non-invasive, there's no radiation involved, you're not going up on a piece of equipment. As I said, it's based on Eastern medicine, and it only took 2 minutes. And it does have 85 to 90% accuracy. And it's not something that's brand new, it's just something that's kind of new to us, because it's been around, it's been in use for over 40 years. Why does it work? Just holding the wand, because it's all about the cells. It's about the energy of your cells, or the technical term is entropy. The human body is made up of trillions of cells. We learned that back in school, or maybe we heard about it back in school, maybe went to sleep in class that day. But our cells grow, they split, they regenerate, they die, they grow, they split, they regenerate, they die. This cycle. So actually, we should be biologically growing younger. That's why I want everybody on this call today to stop saying how old you are and start saying how young you are, because that's where it starts, out of what comes out of your tongue. So now, hopefully by now you've got your report, whether it's physically in your hand or whether it's on your phone. Let's talk about your analysis. Let's analyze your results, because this bioscan shows several different things. Now, the first column that you're looking at is what was tested. The next column is the normal range. That's where we all want to be. In a perfect world, that's where everybody's going to be. The third column is your measurements. It's personal to you. And then we see colors. And that's where we're going to concentrate our focus on this evening. Green, blue, yellow, and red. Now, the green means normal. The blue means it's mildly abnormal. The yellow means it's moderately abnormal. And the red means severely abnormal. And I like to use the word out of balance. Out of balance is not disease. It just means you're going in the wrong direction. If you're on your way to California and you're driving east, don't you want somebody to tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, you'll never get there. You're going in the wrong direction. Well, that's what we did when we sat down with you and did this bioscan. We're able to see which direction you're going in as it relates to the progression of disease. Because guess what? Disease is progressive. What do I mean by that? Nobody has cancer, diabetes, high blood pressure, lupus, whatever it is, overnight. We have it over time. And that analysis and that bioscan began to see what's been taking place in the level of disease progression in your cells since you were a teenager up until now. Now you see some green, blue, yellow, and red, and you see blue, yellow, and red on the left, and you see blue, yellow, and red on the right. Now, what do we want? We want all greens, right? But if there's anything on the left-hand side of that green, it means there's a decrease or it's not working efficiently. If we see anything on the right-hand side, it's an increase or it's overworking. It's the beautiful way that God made our bodies. When something's not working efficiently, something else has to overcompensate for that to keep us alive. So let's look at the first report. Cardiovascular and cerebral vascular. That means your heart and your brain. And when you look at everything from the left-hand side all the way down, except for the last two, that's the heart. The last two on the left is dealing with the brain. And we're talking about the blood vessels around it and the blood vessels on it. We're trying to find out where is the blockage that's taking place. When I heard on the news about Bonnie James having a cardiovascular attack, he had a heart attack, a cardiac arrest, and he's a young boy with a picture of health on the outside, I immediately knew that we have got to share this with everybody that we can. Because had he known where was that plaque building up, he could have done something about it before that took place. And we're seeing this happen with our athletes. We're seeing this happen with everyday people, that you're on the phone with them one day and they're a picture of health, and the next day they had a heart attack or a stroke or they had an aneurysm because they did not know where were the toxins lying up, blocking the flow of oxygen, causing where mucus had built up, it's causing your heart to not function as good as it should. So here we go. Blood viscosity and blood fat. Now I'm going to pair some of these things together because you'll probably see on your report that they kind of look like they're working together. So now look at your blood viscosity and your blood fat. That's the first and the third item on your report. If it's on the right, which is, it won't be on the left, it would only be on the right, there's an increase. Blood viscosity means thickness of the blood, means your blood is thicker than it should be. Blood fat is the reason because you got fatty tissues in the blood. Where does that come from? Comes from your diet, comes from our diet. It's what the man say, it's the food. So if it's too thick, and if you're in the red, you're probably already on blood thinner. You're already probably on warfarin or something, some kind of blood thinner. And blood fat is causing that blood to be thicker. And we need to cleanse those blood vessels and get that blood begin to flow. Because when it's thick, it cannot flow as good as it should be. And then if you've got cholesterol, yep, some people tell me all the time, well, yeah, it runs in my family. Well, listen, I'm gonna tell you what really runs in your family. If you've got high cholesterol, do you eat like your mama and like your grandmama and like your great grandmama? Then that's what's genetic. We eat like they ate, so guess what? We have what they had. And if you make up your mind to make changes in your lifestyle as it relates to your food, all of a sudden genetics goes out the window and you become the first person to make the change. But cholesterol is a result of our diet. When it's high in cholesterol, it's because you're having that bacon every morning. You are loving your potatoes and your chicken and your French fries. I love French fries. And you're loving your pizza. You're loving the burgers and the fast food and the pizzas. All these things cause our cholesterol to be up higher than it should be. But we can do something about it. Then the next one is called vascular resistance. That's the fourth one down from the top. Where is your vascular resistance? Is it in the blue, the yellow, or the red? You see on this particular chart, it's in the yellow. See, the yellow is moderate. If it's in the red, it's crucial. It's serious. And vascular resistance relates directly to blood pressure. Now, you may already be on blood pressure medicine, but I want to tell you something. My father, when he passed away, he had been taking blood pressure medicine all his adult life. And when he passed away, he was on dialysis because over time, the medicine did damage to his kidneys. And medication does damage to kidneys, it does damage to livers. But let me help you understand how blood pressure works, because I know normally the doctor just tells you, you've got high blood pressure. Here, take a pill. Oh, I'm sorry, that pill didn't work. Take another pill. But let me really make it real plain. When there's plaque buildup from our diet, from our fried food, from our cholesterol, from all the things that are sending toxins to our body, that plaque starts building up. And you see it in that third circle. That plaque builds up. It's like having a clogged faucet. And when the plaque builds up, blood still has to flow through because it's got to keep you alive. But what does the blood do? It has to push harder. And when it pushes harder, it raises the blood pressure. That's how blood pressure works. And if it gets too clogged with plaque, you see the fourth picture? Yep, there's no room for it. So what's that called? That's a heart attack or a stroke. So then they go in and they put a stent in and they do things to help you get the blood flowing back through your body. But guess what we could do? Remove the plaque. It's just like flushing a toilet. It's just like cleansing and getting a plunger to your faucet. You do something to get it unclogged. Well, I'm going to share, you're going to see in this presentation what you can do to get it flushed out, to get it unclogged. Then the next thing we're going to look at is three things: vascular elasticity, coronary artery elasticity, and cerebral blood vessel elasticity. Why am I looking at all three together? Because there's a common denominator here, and that word is what? Elasticity. That's right. So what is this thing about elasticity? Let's look at your report. It'll probably be on the left. If it's not in the green, it's either in the blue, the yellow, or the red. That means if it's in the blue, it's just mildly not elastic. If it's in the yellow, it's moderately not as elastic as it should be. It means it's hardening. See, when plaque builds up, that blood vessel hardens. And now there's not enough room to get it through, so it's having to push harder again. So now all of us have been around somebody, or we've heard the terminology, hardening of the arteries. Yes, hardening of the arteries. So what is the cause of hardening of the arteries? It's the plaque buildup over time that causes that blood vessel to get thinner because it's hardening. And if it gets too thin, it'll be like the third picture at the bottom, it breaks. And that means heart attack or stroke. What's the solution? Remove the plaque. Flush the plaque out. You're going to hear me say that over and over again because there is a solution to flush that plaque out. And then it gets back to that first picture that gives us a healthy blood vessel. So that's now there are three of them, right? Vascular elasticity. That means around the heart. Coronary artery elasticity is on the heart. And cerebral blood vessel elasticity is on the brain. So all of these areas are the areas where plaque is building up around the heart, and on the brain, causing those arteries to harden. And when they harden down, you talk to somebody and they just had an aneurysm, or they just had a heart attack, or they just had stroke over time. But the solution again is to remove the plaque. Now you see myocardial blood demand. Myocardial blood demand has to do with that pain that we feel in our heart sometimes, because every 60 seconds, the heart demands a certain amount of blood to get to the heart. But because of plaque buildup, because of toxins building up, because of things, it's all in the food that we're eating. Over time, now that demand is not being met. And we feel that little twinge in our heart, and we just say, oh, it's going to pass, heartburn, it's just going to pass. No, we don't need it to pass. We need to remove the plaque and get it out. Because even with the myocardial blood perfusion volume, you have to understand how this beautiful body of ours works that God so wonderfully made. He designed us for the blood to flow. And that perfusion volume is a certain volume that's supposed to be there taking place at every 60 seconds. It's supposed to flow. And if it's on the left, like it should be on that chart, if it's not in the green, it's on the left, meaning it's not flowing properly. That coronary artery or that vascular artery is blocked, and we're not getting the blood flowing. What happens when we don't get the blood flow? We don't get the nutrients, we don't get the nutrition that we need, and we don't get the oxygen that we need, because that's what's supposed to flow. So even every 60 seconds, every time the heart beats, myocardial oxygen consumption, every time that heart beats, a certain amount of blood is supposed to be consumed. That's why, have you noticed when you work out, when you get on a treadmill or when you go running, you breathe harder? Because your heart is requiring more oxygen, it's requiring more blood flow. But what happens when you do that and there's blockage? Your heart is saying, I need it, but I can't get it. So we've got to cleanse these blood vessels so that we can operate at its optimum, so that our heart is working perfectly. Now, let's look at stroke volume and left ventricular effective pump power. Now, I know the first time you hear the word stroke volume, you start panicking. No, don't worry. We're not talking about having a stroke. So look at your report. It'll probably be on the left if it's not in the green, but it does not mean having a stroke. Every time the heart contracts, that's called a stroke. 1 stroke, 2 stroke, 3 strokes, is your heart beating. And then pump power. Is your heart pumping? How healthy is your heart? If you're looking at your report this evening and you see it on the left in the blue, the yellow, or the red, definitely your heart is not as healthy as it should be. But guess what? We can fix this. You can fix this easily just by exercising. Yep, we got to increase your exercise. And you may be a person that is already exercising, or maybe you're already running every day, or you're walking every day. And here's what I'm going to say to you. I need you to pep it up. I need you to do some HIIT, some high intensity, just every now and then. If you're on the treadmill doing whatever, if you're on the bicycle and you're doing certain revolutions that you're used to, every 30 seconds or a minute or 2 minutes, I need you to pump it up, pump it up, pump it up, and make that heart start beating faster and get really erratic, so that your heart says, whoa, hold on, I gotta speed it up. She's working harder. And then you can go back to whatever your regular regimen is. But there needs to be some high intensity involved in that. And that will cause those numbers to improve. Now we look at left ventricular ejection impedance. If you're not in the green, it's on the right. It's on the right in the blue, the yellow, or the red. Remember, blue is mild, yellow is moderate, red is severe. Out of balance. Why is this important? The left ventricle of your body, of your heart, is what sends the blood to the rest of your body. I was talking to a lady just this past week, and she was talking about how she doesn't have blood flow down to her legs. Well, it's because of blockage taking place in the left ventricle that is supposed to send the blood, the nutrients, and the oxygen to the rest of your body. Where does the blood flow? All over your body. But if you're on the right-hand side, listen, we've got to cleanse these blood vessels. And then coronary, remember that word coronary means on the heart, the coronary perfusion pressure. So many times when we're going through things in our body and we don't understand why are we feeling what we're feeling, it is so directly related to the flow of oxygen through the vessels. And then the pressure against the walls of those vessels, because they're only so wide, so they can only take so much. And the more plaque builds up and the more toxins build up, the less the blood is flowing. And the last thing we're going to look at on this particular report is the brain tissue blood supply. Well, that speaks for itself. Brain tissue, the blood supply to the brain. And if it's not flowing properly, if it's got toxins, and if it's got plaque buildup, it causes clots. And those clots lead to strokes. They lead to aneurysms. Listen, so we've got to clean this up. Now, on to the next report. The next report is related to your gut. I like to talk about this report because I think it's important because 70% of our immune system is in our gut, it's in our stomach. And we need to know about this. If we had had better gut health, we wouldn't have had the atrocities that we've had during the pandemic. We wouldn't have been so concerned about getting COVID because our immune system would have been more efficient. So looking at this report, on the left-hand side, we've got the first thing that's called pepsin secretion. Now, what is this pepsin secretion? If you're in the yellow or the red especially, and the yellow because it's moderately, and remember, everything we see here, if it's in the blue and you do nothing and you make no changes whatsoever, it continues to progress. Now, I don't know the time period. Bonnie James, he wouldn't have known the time period had we done his report and seen that he was in the yellow somewhere. We didn't know it was going to happen in the next week or in the next month or the next years. But the point is, it will progress in the wrong direction. So pepsin secretion, if you're in the yellow, more than likely you're feeling digestion problems. More than likely you're not having good bowel movements on a regular basis because pepsin is an enzyme. And the job of this enzyme is to break down the protein. What do I mean? The animal protein, the meat that you eat, whether that's beef, pork, chicken, turkey, fish, I don't care what it is. If it's got eyes, pepsin's job is to break it down. And if you have the kind of diet that has been doing the beef and the chicken and the pork all the time, guess what? Pepsin is tired. Pepsin is saying, wait a minute. Number one, we don't chew our food enough. So we don't break it down. So something in our body has to do the work for us. So imagine pepsin is breaking the stuff down. We don't chew it much. We almost eating whole pieces of it. So it's got to work. It's got to work. You wonder why you go to sleep during Thanksgiving because you done put so much food in and pepsin is saying, I'm tired, I'm tired, I'm tired. And it's not working. So now you feel bloated. Now you feel, just all kind of stuff going on in your gut. And you wonder what's going on. Well, it's because this particular enzyme is tired. And we're not talking about from what you did last night or last week. We're talking about over time. Remember I said from the time you were a teenager up until now. And then the second one is gastric peristalsis. Listen, this is a muscle that helps to move the food down to our anus. And again, because of so much digestion that we put on our bodies, because number one, we don't understand how digestion works, and I'll share that in a minute, but we're overeating. We're eating so much animal protein that's working our body. It's working the pepsin, it's working the peristalsis. And now all of a sudden, there's so much food in our gut that it gets backed up. That's called acid reflux. Or it takes it time getting through because peristalsis is not moving it through properly or as fast as it should be because there's so much and there's food sitting on the walls that hasn't even been digested. It's a clogged drain. And so now we wonder what's going on. Why do I feel so bloated? I feel a stomach ache. Oh my God. Every time I eat something, it just gives me problems. And you go get some Maalox and you get some Pepto-Bismol. And really, we just need to learn how to eat. We need to learn what foods digest, how they digest. The fruits digest easily and quickly. But what happens when we eat something that's a fruit? Let's say you eat some strawberries, and then you eat your rice and your potatoes, and then you eat your chicken without the skin or with the skin, and all of a sudden your digestive tract says, hold up, wait a minute, the chicken takes priority because it takes longer. Or that steak that you ate takes longer because it takes priority. So it holds up the digestion on the fruit, holds up the digestion on the rice, and says, I got to work on this beef. See, the Mayo Clinic says it takes about 36 hours for food to move through the entire colon. And that's why we have 10 to 12 pounds of waste just sitting there on the walls that we've never digested. And you wonder why you're going through the problems. You wonder why the belly fat just won't leave. See, our body temperature is 98.5, 98.6. But did you know that any animal whose temperature, normal temperature, is higher than ours, causes our body to work harder? I talked about the turkey during Thanksgiving, right? Well, you're going to see what I'm talking about. Check this out, the cow. Look at the temperature of the cow. Is it higher than ours? Absolutely. So that means every time we eat any kind of piece of cow, our body has to work harder. Oh, folks love their pork chops. It's got to work harder because the pig's body temperature, normal, is higher than ours. Any one of them. There goes that turkey. There's that Thanksgiving dinner. We're talking about why you're going to go. It's just lethargic. Yeah, it's lethargic, all right. The turkey's temperature is higher, much higher than ours. And look at the chicken. Oh my God. And look at the fish. Have you wondered why it's so much easier to digest your fish and your seafood? Because the body temperature is lower than ours. That's why some people decide to become pescatarians. I'm just saying. Now, here's a favorite video of mine. I just love to throw this in just so you can see the difference between an animal that's a carnivore and an animal that's an herbivore eating plants. He can't catch them. He can't catch them. They're speedy, because they eat plants, and and the lion eats meat, flesh, like we do, right? And then we've got absorption. Now, oftentimes you're doing the right thing. You're taking your vitamins, but if your intestines is clogged up, then you're not absorbing. And when you look at your chart and you see it in the blue, the yellow, or the red, it means you're not absorbing good. That means you can't even benefit from the nutritious things that you have, like your vitamins or eating the right foods, because they're not being absorbed. So we got to cleanse it. We got to flush these pipes. If your kitchen pipes get clogged, if your bathroom pipes get clogged, don't you do something? Don't you go get a plunger? Don't you go pour some Drano? But what do we do when our body feels that way? We absolutely don't do anything but go get something off the counter to help us, when what we actually need to do is flush it. Yep, I'm going to talk to you about how to flush it shortly. But I need you to get this. I need you to see, even in the small intestines, the same thing here, peristalsis and absorption. Looking at your report, where is it? Is it in the blue, the yellow, or the red, or is it in the green, like in this situation? In this situation, the gut, the gastro area was fine, but was not fine, but the small intestines were in good shape. But the large intestines, that's the next report, same things, peristalsis, absorption. Looking at yours, is it in the yellow? Is it on the left in the yellow, or the red, or the blue? Then guess what? In your large intestines. People tell me all the time, I had a colonoscopy. Well, we're looking at more than just the colon. But here in the colon, the large intestines, we need that peristalsis. We need that muscle to help send that food on through. And that's why we feel that bloated. That's why we feel constipated. That's why we feel like we can't get a bowel movement going on. And we're not absorbing correctly. Are you in the blue, the yellow, or the red? Just know that this can be reversed. You don't have to keep this going on if you make up a decision tonight that I'm going to flush my intestines, because I don't need myself being all stopped up like this. And then intestinal bacteria. Oh my goodness, listen, if you're in the blue, the yellow, or the red, that means you've got intestinal bacteria right there in your gut. Well, how did I get that, Dr. Ross? From your food. From the food, from the alcohol, from the caffeine, the coffee, from the tobacco, from the stress. Yes, so we need to cleanse our intestines, and even the intraluminal pressure. See, the intestines, it's a wall. I said there's food on that wall, right? And the more food that just sits on that wall, it puts pressure against those walls. And now you're just, oh, I don't know why I feel so like I feel in my gut. And you got your hand on your stomach just like she does because of that pressure against the walls. But what happens when we flush it out? All of a sudden you start feeling great. I'm believing that you're going to start feeling great. Now let's look at the next report. And this really is my favorite report. It's really, to me, the most important report, because the liver function, it relates to your protein metabolism, your energy production function, and your detoxification function. And if you're looking at your report and you see blue, yellow, or red on the left, just know that your liver is not functioning like it should. Well, what's the job of the liver? Why is this so important? Well, let's just think about your vehicle. Every one of us has a car, a truck, or SUV or something, and every 3,000 to 4,000 miles or so, you get an oil change. But they don't just change the oil, they also change the oil filter. Now, just think about this. What if they didn't change the filter and they changed the oil only and sent the clean oil through a dirty filter? What would be the results of that? You would still have dirty oil. That's what happens with us, with our liver. It's a filter. It's supposed to filter the blood. So what you saw in your other reports as it relates to your heart, if you saw cholesterol and you saw vascular resistance and you saw anything like that, it could be related directly because the liver's allowing it to flow through when it's supposed to filter it out. Bowel secretion is something that's supposed to be increased in our body. Approximately 85% of bowel is made from water. Okay, all you non-water drinkers realize that you need to start drinking more water, preferably alkaline water. And even what I don't really like is bitter foods, but we need bitter foods because it's a stimulating bowel production. And we need that in our liver. You can start with even dark green leafy vegetables like beetroot and artichokes and pickles, and drink roasted dandelion root tea and lemon tea and celery juice and coffee, all stimulate bile production. And fortunately, we have a coffee that's really, really good, a flat belly coffee. But then here's the one that I want to really focus on is the liver fat content. 90%, well, 95% of the people that I scan on a daily basis have fatty livers. They're in the yellow, they're in the blue, the yellow, or the red. They're not in the green. But I was excited just this past weekend. I scanned 2 83-year young individuals that had green livers. I wanted to ring a bell. I was so excited. But the average person, even people younger, young people, already have fatty livers because that liver, and we think about the liver and we think about liver disease, and we think, most of us, that cirrhosis of the liver is for alcoholics. But let me tell you something, there's a thing called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And that non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, if you have a fatty liver, that's what you have. But you can reverse the direction that it's going in. Now, I had a lady tell me, she said, my doctor told me I had a fatty liver. I said, what did he tell you to do? He said, we're going to watch it. Watch it. Watch it become fibrosis of the liver. Watch it until it becomes cirrhosis of the liver. No, let's not watch it. Let's cleanse it. And when we cleanse it, we take it back to a healthy liver that begins to filter out the toxins and the things that we're putting into our food that are being put, because some things we can't do about. They're shooting up the cows and the chickens and all that kind of stuff and spraying on our fruits and vegetables. But that liver is supposed to get that stuff out through filtering because it's a filter. So listen, pay attention to where you are on that liver. If you're in the blue, the yellow, or the red, just know we need to cleanse your liver. Now we're going to the kidneys. See, the thing about the kidneys that disturbs me, my father passed away on dialysis. And he passed away on dialysis because of kidney failure, right? But it wasn't necessarily because of his diet alone, although he did eat fried foods. But he was also on blood pressure medicine all his adult life. And when you look at this first thing, this first index, and if it's over to the right, it's directly related to your kidney moving in the direction of kidney failure. And some of that is taking place because of medication. That's why we see all the signs and the may cause this on television, on the commercials, may cause, deafness, may cause all the things that it says it causes, blindness. I mean, so many results of the chemicals. God didn't make our body for chemicals. And so if you're looking at your report and it's on the right, then we need to do what? Cleanse, flush your kidneys. Uric acid, directly related to animal protein. Yes, anything that's got eyes, that uric acid, listen, I'm telling you, if you're in the red already, Here's what uric acid does. It crystallizes and it gets in the joints and then it goes down to the big toe. And that's called gout. And from what I've understood, is very painful. That's from uric acid. That's from our meat. And I use the word animal protein because sometimes when I say meat, people tell me, well, I don't eat beef. But I'm talking about chicken. I'm talking about pork. I'm talking about turkey. I'm talking about everything that's got eyes. And then the blood urea nitrogen index and the protein urea. Listen, when we have so much protein in our diet that we've been doing since we were teenagers up until now, our body naturally produces protein. But when we have an excessive amount, it bleeds over into our urine. So when you're looking at your report right now, do you see that you're in the blue, the yellow, or the red to the right? Then guess what? We need to cleanse your kidneys because we don't need to hear your testimony of being on dialysis because you have progressed to kidney disease. All disease is progressive, guys. Nothing happens overnight. And so when they put us on dialysis, it's because the kidney is no longer filtering. It's a filtration system. So all the dialysis machine does is to do it for you. And then you're waiting on a new kidney from somebody else, and that kidney, you got to have medication to make sure that kidney matches. And it's a whole cycle that takes place. And now you're on medication for the rest of your life. And when you're on that medication for the rest of your life, so oftentimes your body is in an acidic state. Is your body acidic or is it alkaline? Have you ever heard those terms before? Well, if you haven't, let me break it down. You go to the store, you buy a battery. It's a Duracell or an Energizer battery, and it's called an alkaline battery. You take that battery, you put it in your player, or you put it in your remote control, or whatever you're putting it in, and it plays, 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 and it plays. It slows down. Why? It stops working. Why? Because it is no longer alkaline. It is acidic. That's what happens to our body. What makes our body be acidic? Our diet, the toxins, and the stress. Oh, yes, ladies and gentlemen, stress is a silent killer. But we've got to get our bodies in the alkaline state. Why? Because disease cannot dwell in an alkaline environment. So when you look at that report about your pH or about the basic, you'll see that even responses that you may be going through, you may not be responding, you may be reacting, has a lot to do with your body being in an acidic place. You may have the mental power and your water shortage because the water that you should be drinking is to protect the cells in your body. And the water that's in there is supposed to be, and even the hypoxia, that's the oxygen. All of these are things to protect your cells. But when your body's acidic, over to the left-hand side, and then the pH is just red or green. There's no gray area here. Either you're acidic or you're alkaline. And if you're in the red, you can be in the green just by changing things that you're doing on an everyday. Look at this chart. Where do you spend most of your time? Over in 3, 4, 5, and 6, or in 7, 8, 9, and 10? Where do you spend most of your time with your eating habits and your lifestyle? Because this has to become a lifestyle. And I'm going to say it again, it's not what you do some of the time, it's what you do most of the time. But as you can see, we need to be on the 7, 8, 9, 10 side of this spectrum because disease cannot dwell over there, but it thrives in 3, 4, 5, and 6. And if you would go back and ask people that are diagnosed with cancer, ask them what kind of diet do they have. More than likely, they're over there at 3, 4, 5, and 6. And if they would change, they'd have to go cold turkey. 7, 8, 9, and 10, those cancer cells would die without chemo, without radiation, and without surgery. So what do? Stop eating the crap. Stop eating the crap. Heed to the warning tonight. That's what this is. We're blowing the horn. We're blowing the trumpet in Zion. We're same thing we do when we get a warning here in Houston. I live in Houston, Texas, and we get hurricane warnings, and we do something. We go to the store, we get groceries, we get batteries in case the electricity goes out. We do something. I'm asking you tonight to do something. Flush your body. flush and cleanse, get the toxins out, the mucus, the waste, the parasites, the plaque, by flushing and cleansing. And plus you're going to do juicing and fruits and vegetables. But now let's get a little more specific. Here's our program. I'm going to let a woman that I admire so highly and I respect her. She's a mother, a grandmother. She's an entrepreneur. She's an econopreneur, and she's a certified wellness coach. Anna Gallagher, are you there?
Yes, I am.
All right, take it away.
Thank you, Dr. Roz, and back to you, all those good things you said. We're talking about detox. What is a detox? Detox is the process of removing toxins, a generic term for something that makes you feel unwell from your body. Your body does this automatically, though. That's the job of the liver and other organs. If you eat something you're not supposed to or take too much medication, the liver helps metabolize everything. What to expect? You will release unwanted waste, reduce belly fat, and supercharge your system. Also known as our age reversal detox. This will help you reset your body, promote the feeling of biological age reversal. We all want that. You will release unwanted waste, reduce belly fat, and supercharge your system. Phase 3 includes expert guidance, your own personal coach, and coaching with your assigned coach. Please visit us online at www.flatbellylifestyle.com to register for your ebook, Phase 3 ebook. This will allow you to download recipes, our meal plan, your grocery list, and more. You can select one, a 7-day refresh or 21-day reset. This includes your meal plan, grocery link, and proven products for each one. Now on the refresh, what's going to happen? To jumpstart your healthy journey, you'll lose unwanted pounds and refresh the mind, the body, and the soul in just 7 days, you all. Then the 21-day one is going to help you to repair, renew, and reset your mind, body, and soul. Reduce belly fat and inflammation and drop the waist in 21 days. So let's take our 7 or 21-day raw cleanse. One of the best ways to elevate your energy is by detoxifying your body. In either one of these cleanses, number 1, you're going to have the Eliminator. This removes mucus, parasites from your body. It's a powder, 1 teaspoon in 8 ounces of water every morning will clean up the mucus. Number 2, this is going to be our colonic tea. It cleans the colon and bodily organs with our purified liquid colonic. You're going to boil 45 ounces of water. It's a tea bag in here, drop it in. Once the water is boiled, take a lid, put on top of it, let it sit out overnight, and then you pour it in whatever container you want when you drink the first day. 4 ounces in the morning, 4 ounces in the evening before 8 o'clock. The rest of the time you're on this, you'll drink 4 ounces till you finish either the 7 or the 21 day. Number 3, this is the Regenerator. It nourishes your cells with 3 smoothies a day. Just add water, greens, and fruit, superfood, and plant protein. And number 4, the new guy on the sidewalk, in the whole system, our Arona berry juice. The Regenerator, step 3 that I was telling you about, this replenishes your vitamins and your minerals. All these things in here are minerals and herbs. Step 4, it's optional, but I tell you all, you've got to try it. we've discovered the most powerful superfruit on planet Earth, the Arona berry juice. It accelerates weight loss, tastes delicious. Take 1.5 ounces twice a day. The ORAC score is 41,000 plus, and this also reduces inflammation. Now you want to hear from Farmer Tony from Akron Valley Farm in South Dakota. He's our farmer that grows the Arona berry.
I was looking for something natural. I'm not into the prescription scene, and with family members that had issues in my immediate family, serious sicknesses that led to death, and so I started searching for something that was natural. And I've been looking and studying and researching antioxidants, and I came across Aronia berry, and I saw that it had the highest antioxidant rating of any other fruit on planet Earth. Anthocyanins are found in the plant world, and raspberries, they've got anthocyanins in them. Blueberries have anthocyanins in them. But in the Aronia berry, it has anywhere from 20 times to 2,000 times the anthocyanin content in Aronia is what these other fruits do. Anthocyanins are very powerful anti-inflammatories. Science has revealed that they help everything from the eye, the brain, the heart, the circulatory. It also aids in increasing the immune system, help strengthen the immune system. The other thing I noticed that did is help my eyesight. For me, that was very important. And then what I saw from being able to rest a full 8 hours a night. I was a 5 to 6 hour guy, and I was able to sleep for 8 hours and had plenty of energy for the next day. And it acts as a cellular protection. I think all of our, when we talk about drugs and medicines and stuff, a lot of times we don't get to the root cause. And so we need to get to the root cause, which is at the cellular level. And Aronia is a cell protective, the compounds of Aronia are cell protective, so that when we have a mutated cell, the Aronia can actually stop it from mutating. It protects other cells to keep that mutation from invading other cells. And the other thing I noticed that for me, I think my heart rate, my blood pressure, my cholesterol levels, all those things seem to be modifying once I got on this regimen of the Aronia juice twice a day. And we always recommend that you drink that shot glass, about a half an hour before you eat a meal. Because these antioxidants, these anthocyanins and proanthocyanins and the flavonols, all these polyphenolic substances that are found in Aronia are water-soluble antioxidants, so they absorb into the system very quickly. And that's, I think, is really important to do. If you get it in while you're eating, some people like to do it like, maybe an hour after they eat, which is fine. But if you get it on empty stomach, these compounds will absorb into your body much quicker. This study came out back in, I believe, 2009 that showed by adding a small portion of a lemon juice to the Aronia increased the absorption rate through the blood-brain barrier of these anthocyanins and proanthocyanidins. Many of our customers that have bought in the past have had to have their blood pressure medicines lowered, and their if they're on a blood thinner of some sort like a Coumadin, they've had to have that lowered because the Aronia compounds have been studied extremely large. A number of studies have shown that Aronia helps with the circulatory, with the relaxing of the blood vessels and the arteries, as well as the heart and the brain. So yes, you want to monitor that with your blood pressure and making sure that that's stays in the range that need it to be.
What will you need for your 7-day and 21-day? Alkaline water. You can get a $5 refill with a 5-gallon jug. Blender or shaker ball bottle. Spinach, kale, mixed greens, arugula salad per day with red onion, veggies, and vegan dressing, bananas, avocados, fresh and frozen fruit, pecans, walnuts, almonds, raw almond butter, flax seeds or flaxseed oil, Flat Belly 7-day refresh or 21-day reset. Stores to purchase your additional items: Amazon, Trader Joe's, H-E-B, Whole Foods, and of course, the store of your choice. Free grocery guide, you're gonna get this. Download your free guide to plant-based lifestyle grocery list. It's included. Free group coaching. Need extra guidance? Join us every Sunday live on Zoom. These are a few of our, what we call flat belly warriors. They have did the plan, lost the weight. They're awesome. Now you can listen to what our CSO tells you about how she conquered what she needed to conquer. Miss Phyllis Nash.
I was able to lose 14 pounds, 6 inches. And I love the way I look. I'm not gonna lie, I am loving this. But let me tell you what I love even more. I dropped my cholesterol 50 points, blood pressure stabilized. And my doctor and I had been fighting for the last 5 years because she wanted to put me on a statin, and I absolutely refused. And she told me I would never change my cholesterol, lower it by diet alone. Well, you can know how excited I felt when I had dropped it 50 points. I want to be optimally healthy until the day I just close my eyes and I'm not here anymore. I hope you join us.
And back to you, Dr. Roz.
All right, thank you, Miss Anna. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Fantastic job. Now let's get to the meat of this, because many of you got a report and you got 6 things or 4 things that you snapped with your phone, or it was sent to you by email. But there's so much more to this report. And just for $29.99, let's just round it up to $30. You can get the full report. Now that's a steal, because if you were to try to get this kind of report with all of this information, and you've heard what you've heard tonight, but what about your gallbladder and your thyroid and your bone density? What about your vitamin deficiency, where you're deficient, and your trace elements and your blood sugar? What about all those things? And then what about for you men, about your prostate, and for you women, about your breast and gynecology? You need all that information. So here's what you got to do. Get back with the person who scanned you. Yes, that scan coach can provide you with this entire report. And you need to do this tonight. The other thing you need to do is you need to know your blood type. And if you don't know your blood type, listen, you're missing out, because you may be eating something that's toxic to your blood type. And you can do that on a website. The person who scanned you, or the person who invited you, who told you about this opportunity to be able to get scanned, they've got a website. And listen, it normally is $19.95, but on our website, you can get it for a lot less than that. Everything you need to do that blood type. Now let's talk about this cleanse we've been talking about, this reset, or this refresh. 21 days. Yes, you can do 21 days. I mean, when you think about the reds that you saw or the yellows that you saw, that's an indication that you need to do 21 days. And Miss Anna just told you what takes place during that 21 days, and everything you need to do those 21 days is provided here, $350, except for those additional items that you get, like the flaxseed oil and etc. And with this $350, you get all 4 of the products and a couple of bottles of the juice, and then our 7-day cleanse. Now, because you might be that person, no, I don't know if I can go without meat, or if I can go without cooked food for 7 days or for 21 days, but I can surely do 7. See, all I want you to do is do something. Get started. And if you do 7 days, then 3 months later, do another 7 days, or get the whole 21 day and split it up. Whatever you need to do to get started, cleansing, detoxing, reset, or refresh your body. The 7 day is only $139. But I want to take you up a little bit higher, because if you're looking at this, and I know that when we first did our first cleanse, the first thing people saw was our face, and they noticed that we were losing weight, and we were not only losing weight, but losing waste, and our energy level went up. They wanted to know how we did it. And when they wanted to know how we did it, we could just tell them, this is how we did it. But guess what? You can go to my website. How would you like for that to be you? Not only would you have the product, but they could go directly to your website. And for $399, that includes the 21-day cleanse and some other products. Listen, you really get a total of over $400 worth of products. It's over $1,000 in total value, and you'll have your own website. You'll actually be having your own home-based business at that point, just that easy. And we'll get you certified through our Akana Nation so that you have the information regarding the whole company. Or you could go up to the next level and have 3 7-day cleanses. Listen, that pays for it all by itself, just for $799. And now you're going to have our pain cream, and you're going to have our hemp protein replacement. You're going to have our Hempranin, which is our own proprietary CBD product. You're going to have all these things involved in this $799 Coach Pack, Sapphire Coach Pack. But if you're like I was, I wanted to help other people. I wanted to be able to scan people. I wanted to be able to change people's lives when they sit down next to me. And that's how you become a certified coach, wellness coach here at Akana. It's with our Diamond Coach Pack. It's only $14.99. Yes, it's a $3,000 value. You get over $1,600 worth of product, and you get 3 7-day cleanses and 1 21-day cleanse and a slew of other product. But more importantly, you go through not only our Akana certification, but you go through our wellness coach certification. Now, if you also want to scan people, there is an additional $500 charge just to get that piece of scan equipment. That's separate from this. But you will be well equipped to join forces with us. And might I say, we need more coaches. We need coaches in every city, every state, every town, every nook, and every cranny. Because a detox is your opportunity to give your body a break and allow your own self-cleansing and self-healing, because God made our bodies to heal itself. So the effects of the cleanse, it goes way beyond weight. You may not want to lose weight, but it goes about waste, and it gives you mental clarity during and afterwards. So welcome tonight, Elevate with Akana, and we welcome you to the family.
Thank you so much, Dr. Roz. That was wonderful. We always appreciate